Surely everyone knows this actor. He is hated by all American film critics. The jury of the Golden Raspberry Awards loves him very much and reacts to his every film. The audience's attitude is also ambiguous. Some like him, and some think he is disgusting. Many people think that he owes his success to Adam Sandler. At a small segment of his career, Rob Schneider became a big star and, for his participation, received royalties of several $1,000,000. And today, we would like to remember this actor who couldn't take the next step in his career as his own sparkling jokes, and the journalists for whom Schneider was the main target for many years. Rob Schneider's career began, as most comedians do, on television. He wrote lyrics for many famous comedians and shows like Saturday Night Live. That's where he met Adam Sandler, with whom he often appeared in sketches in the 90s. In them, by the way, he usually portrayed a man who annoys everyone wildly. Despite this, the actor began to be seen and invited to minor roles in comedy projects. One of them in 1992 was a sequel to Home Alone. The role of the actor in this film was small but notable. In 1993, Rob met with 3 movies at once. Surf Ninjas had a unique role at the box office, but the film failed. But the comedy The Beverly Hillbillies and the sci-fi action movie Demolition Man at the box office were able to earn a lot of money. And although Rob and Demolition Man did not even get a mention in the credits, this film with Stallone was for him a breakthrough. Sly noticed him, and in 1995 Judge Dredd came out. The failure of this film at the box office was a stunning effect. Stallone would later say that he understood the low potential of this film because it was only a comic book. Therefore, he wanted to turn it into a comedy so the audience would not be bored. He is often criticized for this decision, but comic books were less valuable to anyone in those years. The actor was looking for someone to play with his partner. Stallone offered the role to Joe Pesci and Danny DeVito, but they turned it down despite the huge fee. After a series of refusals from the other actors, Sly decided to invite his friend Armand Assante to the movie and take a more straightforward role of a clown who will undoubtedly agree. Stallone says that he accidentally remembered how on the set of Demolition Man, he was often made fun of by some strange guy and invited to his movie Schneider. Rob's career was in a tailspin then, and he agreed without question. He was even allowed to improvise and banter with Dredd. Many of these improvisations were later included in the film. Rob remembers filming a scene where he almost roasted on open fire. But no matter how the actors did not try to rent the movie, no one needed it. And on the career of Sly, such a power failure had a dramatically negative impact. On the contrary, Schneider was grateful for the film and was called to various projects. Maybe not as big as Judge Dredd, but the actor had a choice. The next film was Down Periscope. In the 90s, his comedy movies about the army failed at the box office, and the movie with Schneider was no exception. That same year Rob starred in another film, The Adventures of Pinocchio. The European movie, with a budget of $25 million, also went unnoticed. 3 consecutive failures forced the actor to go on television. Gathering his strength, he returned to the big screen only a couple of years later, in 1998. But at once, with 3 projects to minimize the risks. One of the 3 films was Adam Sandler's comedy The Water Boy, and the second project was a black comedy called Susan's Plan. It went straight to video, as after the test, screenings were unnecessary to the distributor. And the third picture in 1998 was the action movie Knock Off, where Schneider could once again mock the action star. Van Damme selected him among dozens of applicants and approved him for a role in his film. How the film performed in test screenings is unknown, but it had many problems in the post-production phase. Knock Off was very much cut. Several action sequences were removed from it, and those that remained underwent cuts. The film's final version runs less than an hour and a half. Perhaps this attitude is due to Van Damme's failing career, plus the actor has been detained several times by the Hong Kong police for inappropriate behavior. The box office movie, with a budget of $35 million, could collect only 10. Rob Schneider received another failure in his career, saved by Adam Sandler in 1999 by inviting him to his 2 projects. The first was Big Daddy, in which Rob was more solid than the other works. And the second film is a successful project, Deuce Bigalow and Mala Gigolo. The film is fully financed. One of the first films of the production company of Adam Sandler, Mala Gigolo, was initially developed specifically for Adam, but at some point, it became apparent to Sandler that the role wasn't suitable for him, and he immediately contacted Schneider. The first significant role in his career for Rob was a breakthrough. At the box office, 17 million comedy earned $92 million. The comedic talent of the actor was noticed by all. For his next film, The Animal, he received a record fee of $1 million at that time. It is believed that the film failed because of film critics, because they assured that absolutely everything in the film was offensive. The film had a box office production budget of $47 million and grossed $84 million. This was clearly not a good sign, but for his next movie, The Hot Chick Rob got $4 million already. And the Disney project boasts grosses of $55 million, which is a good result for a film like this, but the production budget for this picture is $34 million. It became apparent that the actor's transition from supporting to major roles had gone poorly. All of his new films failed at the box office, and on top of all the other troubles, he was noticed by the Golden Raspberry Award, for which he began to claim almost all of his works. In 2005, the actor tried to save himself by continuing his hit Deuce Bigalow, European Gigolo. His budget was a small $22 million, and for this, Sony Studios was allowed to make the film with an adult rating. This film received several Golden Raspberry nominations, and Rob Schneider was given the award for Worst Actor of the Year, but the film managed to avoid failure at the box office. Rob often in the press argued with critics of his movies. They in turn reciprocated, and in time Rob became one of the most hated actors in Hollywood among journalists who write about films. His films were prepared in advance to downgrade. In 2006, he received his biggest fee of $5 million for the film The Benchwarmers. Film critics destroyed Rob got another Golden Raspberry, and at the box office, 33 million movies earned $64 million. Schneider attempted his career with his directorial debut. That film was Big Stan. Despite failure at the box office, the film has a very good rating among viewers for the genre, but critics have a standard picture of 3 points out of 10. After Big Stan, actor ceased to be called for significant roles, and in a great movie, he began to be seen only in the comedies of his friend Adam Sandler, who often gave him minor roles in their films. In 2011 in Hollywood, news spread quickly that Rob Schneider died. Many critics greeted this news with delight and joked that the water that day got wetter. Naturally, there was a rebuttal 24 hours later. Schneider said it was standard for him to turn off his phones and not talk to anyone when performing at various venues. Since he was performing at a tiny venue, no one knew or didn't find it necessary to inform him personally that he had just died. In 2012, Rob tried to go into television and did a series called Rob for the CBS channel. He starred in the project, producing, writing, editing, and even directing. The series performed very poorly for the channel and was shut down after the first season. In 2015, he tried again already with the series Real Rob. Success also passed by well, and then Rob Schneider began to act in films whose audience ratings were less than 3 points out of 10. In addition to roles in such films, Schneider engaged in the scoring of television projects and occasionally starred in Adam Sandler comedies. But even though his career actor, in general, is over, he found himself as a comedian who sometimes performed in various cities with his jokes.